Hi, folks, and welcome to Tech Talk. My name is Anu. My guest today is Kumar Malavalli. Come join me. Hi, Kumar, and thanks so much for coming on the show. We are so grateful.
Thank you, Anu. Really, I'm all excited. I'm glad that you chose me to be interviewed, and I'm very happy to be here.
Of course, my goodness, you're a legend.
I hope so.
You are a successful serial entrepreneur, you are an investor, and you're a philanthropist. You have done pioneering work as co-founder and chief technology officer at Brocade Communications. You were the originating architects behind fiber channel technology. That technology has paved the way towards the multi-billion-dollar industry of storage area networks, and it has transformed the digital world. Brocade had its IPO in '99. It was the largest IPO of the year. After that, it became a $30 billion company. After Brocade, you co-founded a company called Indus, which was acquired by Microsoft. And you are presently a co-founder and chairman of a company called Glassbeam. You have invested in numerous startups globally, and you also mentor numerous startups. You are an inductee in the very prestigious Silicon Valley Engineering Hall of Fame. I would like to start at your very beginning.
Sure.
You were born and raised in Mysore.
That's right.
Tell me about your childhood.
Yeah, I was born in Mysore and grew up both in Mysore and Bangalore during my younger days. And I was born into a very middle-class family. And we are three brothers. I'm the eldest one. And my father is a well-known civil servant in Karnataka. Then it was called Mysore State. And then he is a gold medalist. And he's a mentor and guide for all the three of us when we were growing up. And his main theme was good education. That's going to allow you to lead a very good life in the future. That's how we grew up. We were a very small, well-knit family. And my mother was usually usual housewife, taking care of the children.
Sure. When and how did you end up in Silicon Valley?
It's a long story, but I'll make it short.
No, tell us your story.
Okay, so actually, I after finishing my graduate degrees in electrical engineering and physics from University of Mysore, and I joined a German company situated in India, and I worked there as junior engineer, by the way, and then that's how I started my career after education. And then afterwards, in 1972, I had a chance to move to Germany, go to Düsseldorf, and to further my training in engineering and also get some higher education. So that's why I left India in 72 and then went to Düsseldorf and then got my training and education. After finishing, that was in 1972. And after then, 1974, after finishing my education and training, and I immigrated to Canada in 1974, October 1974, to take the gainful employment in the area of industry electronics. That's what I was trained in Germany. That's the subject I was trained in Germany. Then after moving to Canada, particularly Toronto, Canada, and I was very fortunate to work for well-known companies such as Alcatel. Alcatel is a well-known French company. Then ITD Communication, endowed Communications, and also Hewlett Packard. Mm-hmm. So I was very fortunate to work for all these companies. And fortunately, in 1987, I had an opportunity to join a group of eminent engineers coming from companies all over the United States to start a committee under American National Standards Institute to come out with a standard that can be used to connect both the computer servers and storage subsystem and create a very large and connectivity-based and high-speed-based network. And that was the mandate we took, and we started developing the standard. And eventually, after a couple of years after we started working on this, I became the chairman of the committee to lead the group. And eventually we had the standards ready. When I say standard, it's a slew of standards, group of standards, not one standard, taking care of different aspects of the connectivity. And then we got the standard ratified in 1993 to be American national standard. And eventually, after a few months, it became international standard, in particularly, in Tromsø in Norway. When the ISO group met, and I went there and I got it ratified at the international standard. And then we used the standard when I was working for CanStar Communication, which is part of Alcatel. And a small group headed by me was assigned the job to use the technology to build a switch to be used to create the future sign. And then we developed the prototype, and I took the prototype and showed it to companies such as IBM, Hewlett Packard, and Sun Microsystems. And just to get their endorsement, and also to make sure that they become our future potential customers. That was the rationale behind showing the prototype to all these companies. And to our good luck, Hewlett Packard liked the prototype, and then they decided to acquire my group, and then create a new division, HP division called Canadian Networks Operation, HPCNO, that was created near Toronto. And I became the head of that. And then we started, continuing our development within Hewlett Packard after the acquisition. But unfortunately, to my dismay, even after nearly 3 years, they acquired us, by the way, in 1993. In 1995, I came in, and then to my dismay, we are not getting enough funding from corporate HP in California to successfully convert this prototype into useful product in the industry. I was very much disappointed. Sure. This disappointment and frustration led me to think of starting my own company and started looking for funding source in Canada. And Canada was, can't be compared to Silicon Valley. The venture capitalism never existed in 1995. Now it's better, but at that time it was not existent. And then I failed to raise the fund. Then I decided to try Silicon Valley because I had heard a lot about Silicon Valley at that time being very friendly to startups. And then I finally succeeded in getting the funding in Silicon Valley and to start the company in Brocade. That's why I ended up in Silicon Valley finally.
Brocade was not only a very successful company, but in parallel, you created an entire industry. Tell me the story behind the founding of Brocade.
My pursuit of finding the source of funding in Silicon Valley has succeeded. You rightly mentioned that I was introduced to a person by the name of Seth Nyman, who was the junior partner of a Silicon Valley VC firm called Crosspoint Ventures. And he asked me to come down to Silicon Valley, come down to a meeting, have a discussion about my concept, my idea of the company that I was thinking of starting. And I came down and met him and had lunch at Westfront Gala. It used to be in Stanford Shopping Center. And it was a long lunch, about nearly 2 hours. And I explained to him the concept of fiber channel, how it can be used as a technology behind future storage area network called SAN. And also I explained to him the commercial benefits and also business potential. To explain to him. And he liked the discussion. He was very happy to know that there is a lot of big potential here. And he was very much for investing in the new company. And then he said that he would like to check up with his boss, a senior partner by Mr. Shapiro. And then he said he will let me know as to when I could come back again and then meet Shapiro and explain to him all the concept behind this technology and then try to sell him. And then I said, okay, let me know, and then I will come whenever you want me to come down to Silicon Valley. Then in the meanwhile, and I was having conversation with one Mr. Paul Bonderson, and he was the director of mass storage in Sun Microsystems. And the way I came to know him was when I was working for Canada, in CanStar in Canada, and then there was a consortium formed by IBM, HP, and Sun Microsystems called Fiber Channel Systems Initiative. That initiative to have a proof of concept of fiber channel technology to show that how compute servers and system can be connected together, have a high-speed connectivity and pass the data, data transfer. And to be able to connect all of them, they needed a switch. They chose CanStar's small little company in Canada, what chose to provide the connectivity. So I took my prototype and I used it to connect these systems coming from these three companies, and it was a successful initiative. Then Paul Bonderson was at Sun Microsystems. That's how I came to know him. Then after having talked to Seth Nyman, then I talked to him again. I said, we should work together. How come? What do you think of we become founders of the company that had invested? He totally agreed. That was a very good thing that happened to me because I had a lot of good expertise in networking, but he had a lot of experience with storage system. It's a very good combination. Then we decided to become founders. When Seth Nyman called me to come down to Silicon Valley for a meeting with Shapiro, then I suggested that not only Seth and Shapiro but also Paul Bonderson should be in that meeting. All the four of us met. Ilfanail, restaurant in Palo Alto. That was selected by Seth. I had no clue about Palo Alto restaurant. Then we met that evening in I think it was late June 1995, and we had a good conversation. Shapiro understood what we were trying to do. Paul Bonderson was very good help for me to talk about the storage side of the business. I was talking about the network side of the business. And then on the spot, he agreed to give us seed capital of $1.3 million. On the spot, he said. We didn't have any business plan, nothing, just my explanation. He had told trust in what we were talking to him about. And then he said, on one condition, then you have to leave Canada because I'm not going to invest the money if you want to start a company in Canada. It has to be in Silicon Valley. Then he said, okay, and then I went back, they wired the money, and then as soon as we got the money, I resigned from Hewlett Packard, and I moved down to, actually one more thing. And then when I decided to leave HP, then I called for a meeting between Seth Nyman, Paul Bonderson, and myself in Canada, in Sheraton Hotel in International Airport in Toronto. Then we had a meeting about strategy, how to start the company, where do you have to start, what will be the name of the company. Then together we select the name Brocade there. And that's how the company was formed. And I left with bag and baggage. And I had full support of my wife Vijaya and my daughter Ranjini to be able to do that. Otherwise, all along when I was working on this idea and the idea of not only the product but also the company, I had full support. Otherwise, I couldn't have done that with both my wife and my daughter. But anyway, I moved to Silicon Valley. My wife joined later, about 6 months later, because she had to take care of a few things with my daughter. She was still in Canada at that time. And then we launched the company in a hole in the wall in Sunnyvale.
In a strip mall, right?
In a strip mall, Sunnyvale. near downtown Senegal, and on August 18, 1995. That was the date of birth of the company. And then rest is history, and that's how the Brocade was formed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me some very specific reasons on why Brocade became as successful as it did.
Like I said, between Paul Barneson and me, we had a good combination. I come from networking world, he came from the storage world. That was very important. And then I, being the prominent player in the standards committee, and also being the chairman of the standards committee, I had a very good knowledge of the fiber channel technology. And Paul Barneson had a very good knowledge of how the storage subsystems work, and then the computer servers work. That was very, very good combination. On top of that, I got two bright engineers from Hewlett Packard at that time, and then he brought two bright engineers from Sun Microsystems. We joined the team together. It was a very good founding team. And afterward, even we lacked few other few personnel in few other areas of expertise. We also hired few more people. The most important thing is we had and then going on when we started growing the company, we had a very, very good combination of people in the area of engineering, finance, sales and marketing, right people, right combination of people to be able to take the company to business success. And not only that, and we followed the team called every desk has a CEO. That means when you go to your desk, you are the CEO. You should work as a CEO to do the right thing for the company, not care about only one individual. So we had a very good understanding, rapport between engineering team, marketing team, sales team, and business team, and finance, of course. And of course, we had differences of opinion at times, but finally, when we got together, we aligned on one thing. That's, you may have different opinions,
sure,
but finally you have to align on one thing. That was the principle we used. It worked very well. That is one thing. Second thing is, having led the standards committee, being a leader in the standards committee, we used to take, Brocade took a lot of proposals because we knew what was required. Took a lot of proposals to be included in the standards as features to be standardized. So we had the early advantage of knowing what works, what doesn't work. And then that also gave us the opportunity to be early on in developing those features and releasing that into the market. So we had a leg up compared to our competitors. So that's one thing. And another thing is the timing. Timing was very perfect. If we had done the company about a few years before, we would have failed. We would have had the Osborne effect. You must have heard about Osborne effect and not at the right time. If you were too late, other companies would have done. They would have done decent enough job. Even if you had a better product, we couldn't have been successful. So how timing is important is I can tell you about that. There are two things that are happening in the industry. At that time, the Netscape happened. Mm-hmm. First internet browser was introduced. That opened up the internet to the consumers. Until then, only universities and the high-end enterprises were using it, but not opened up to the entire world. That means the data, the influx of data, amount of data, the speed of data was becoming exponential. And that's one thing. So second thing was video files started coming into the picture. Video files are very large. You need to be able to transfer them at a very high speed. And also connectivity was also very important because existing technology like SCSI storage and IP protocol could not handle the large connectivity, high speed, and then support for the geographically diverse network. So having said that, fiber channel was there ready for that and to take care of this data infusion. Gigabits, petabytes of data were coming into the picture. Fiber channel was the only technology that could handle that. So we had the perfect timing and then we had the right technology to meet the data requirements.
Sure.
These are the three main reasons how Brocade was successful.
Very interesting. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the entrepreneurial journey is not an easy one.
Yes, I know.
So talk about some of your significant setbacks that you've experienced as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, the major setback was I encountered naysayers both within the industry and in the company, about your idea, about your technology, about the product that you are thinking about. They say, no, not going to work. But thing is, you had to have confidence in yourself. You got confidence in your ideas and the product. And then you got to prove it to them that, you're on the right track. And that's what I did particularly on my part. And then finally, that allowed them to join you instead of fighting you.
Yeah.
So that was very important. So, second setback was when they came to know I'm going to leave a very good job within HP and then move down to California to embark on a startup, they laughed at me because I was 55 at that time. Age was not on my side. But I said, hey, I know what I'm doing. Age is not important. At any age, if you get good conviction of good idea, and if the market is ready, you should do it. You should take risk. I said, I'll take the risk. If it doesn't work, I will join a company and become, join as an engineer somewhere. So nothing to lose. And then finally, the success of Brocade proved them wrong.
I want to switch directions a little bit. I want you to tell me about the endowment chair for storage technology research. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. That's that. After the success of Brocade, after pioneering the concept of SAN, which is it is to create a large private network of storage along with the computer service, and I said it's my duty to help the industry, help the university to do more research around this technology to further the role of storage and storage networking. That's why I decided to do an endowment in one of the educational institutions, one of the universities. Then I hired the professor emeritus of Stanford to do a research for me, and also some analysis of for me about 4 different universities that I selected. One was Stanford, other one is UC Berkeley, now UC San Diego and UC Santa Cruz. These are the 4 candidates. And he did a very good job. Finally, we decided to do the endowment at UC Santa Cruz for these 4 reasons. One is they had to, even UC Santa Cruz itself didn't know about the quality of the faculty they had in storage technology. They had either number 1 or number 2 in the entire United States, even today. So in the area of storage technology, in the computer science department, they were either equal or as good as Carnegie Mellon in East Coast. That's one thing. Second thing is, because it's a small university, all the money was going to UC Berkeley, UC Stanford. They have more hunger and appetite to do this job for me, to increase the research, and then have a better research environment. And the third thing is nearness to, of course, it is close to Silicon Valley.
Sure.
The fourth thing is, to my surprise, the overhead to do this thing, endowment, was the lowest among all the selected candidates. These are the 4 reasons.
Yeah.
Then it's selected, and then Professor Delalang became the professor for my, he's still the chair. And also the endowment is very much used to enhance the research, not only research that Professor Delalang is selected, but also in generic term research project selected by Studies System Research Center in the university, and a lot of it has helped a lot of students, to further their education, further their research, and now it's become one of the most pioneering research center for story, not only in the United States but also in the world.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's how I ended up. That's the story about my endowment in UC Santa Cruz.
And in addition to that, you have established a STEM educational outreach program.
That's right.
Talk about that.
Yeah, that is, I'm very much into, because I told you my family, my father was the root cause of my education, and the concept of how to use education to better your life, not only for yourself, for the society. And so that led me to Dr. Morishita, who is the president of the university, Casted East Bay. That's where I started this outreach program in the STEM area. And he explained to me how they're doing the program about STEM. And we talked about how do you extend. It's not just STEM to be taught in the university, but also you got to use the university as a platform to extend that to the nearby community, particularly in the school. The school where the young kids are studying, and you got to catch them very young to be interested in the STEM education, and also make sure, create an environment so that they don't drop out. That's all, not only getting them early on, but also make sure they don't drop out in the middle. So we created the program. My endowment fund that I planned is being used. And also the reason why did Casted East Bay, then Hayward, nearby community is very depressed economically depressed. And that's where the effect of the STEM education felt mostly than doing it Palo Alto or Los Angeles, or other time, etc. So that's what they do. They are still working on several programs. 2 programs they've initiated that they are working very well. One is they have created a mathematical handbook, math handbook, used by the parents of these students to know how to talk math language with the kid early on. So that's being developed, and so that you can go and not only go talk to the children, but also you have to make sure the parents are involved. Otherwise, not going to work. Because they are economically depressed, they don't have time, or they get pursued by the financial opportunities and all that. And how do you make sure that they take interest in their kids' STEM education? That's one thing. Second thing, we created workshops. We created about 5 workshops, multilingual workshops, both in Spanish and English. English. And so that workshop is also bring the parents and the kid together in centers. One of the centers is called Helen Turner Institute in Hayward, and that belongs to one of the community schools. That's where they create the workshops so that they can geometry, algebra, and all this will be taught to the kid. But also, parent will also learn the math language again, how to talk to them, how to converse them in the language that the kids can understand. Yeah. But that's what we're doing. They're also looking at other programs as well.
Yeah. You so graciously gave your time and your resources to both civic and international institutions. I'd like for you to talk about the Indus International Schools.
That's a great question. Yeah. When in 2001, that is in my early days after the Brocade IPO, and I was visiting India. Then I met, I had invested in a company called endowed Technology. They are revolutionizing the way the education is taught in the school. What I mean by that, they want to, because very difficult to get good teachers. And then it's also more difficult to make the good teachers go to the villages. Yeah. how to do that. Then only way, then we said, why don't we use the technology? And then we, using the internet was coming up with using the, telecom and all those different ways of communication, and use that. And then the engineers in the company created what is known as reusable educational objects. That means if you take algebra, if you take biology, whatever, and grade 3 biology, grade 4 maths, whatever, each subject will have thousands of reusable educational objects in the particular subject. This object is multifaceted. One is you have a textual part of that. The second, the lecture part of that, given by a very eminent lecturer in that field. Third, and the most important thing is the animation part of it. That is, a lot of kids, they just read the text and listen to the lecture. They may not envisage the concept behind the science and mathematics. So the visualization helped them to know what really that means in real life. So we created that, and then based on that, then using the internet, you can transmit these subjects through internet to distant schools, and the schools will have computing system, internet connection, and then they can learn without actual teacher being there physically. That means you can virtualize the teacher, you can virtualize the classroom. That's the whole idea. The company was very successful. Finally, it was bought by London Times, and then now it's doing very well. During that time, because I was involved in education in India, I came across with few people who are interested in starting a school. My goal was, instead of starting an ordinary school, why don't you start an international school that can cater to kids from any country, not just from India.
Sure.
But only way we could not use Indian syllabus. Then we did some research, and we came to know that IB curriculum, International Baccalaureate, that is headquartered in Switzerland, they have syllabus and a program that can cater to international education concept. The reason why it's important is, for example, if an expat from United States, like people working for Google or in India or Facebook, what have you, and if they take the kids, they should be able to join a school with IB curriculum, where the education is taught in the IB curriculum. When they get transferred back to United States or any other country, as a matter of fact, they should be able to seamlessly make the kid join IB school here. There is a seamless standard.
Yeah.
That's why we decided. And then we had that idea. Then we said we got to have very good leader to run this school as a business. And the business means not from financial point of view, from product success of the product point of view, a product for the education, customers for the parents and the students. And then we want to create the entire school system like a business. We want to have a CEO, we want to have a COO, and we want to have a CFO for the school. But COO will be responsible for general management and marketing and promotion of the schools, to grow the school to better, the different heights and with quality. And the COO is the principal operation.
Yeah.
But we want a CFO to make sure that we are financially do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we were looking for CEO, and it's a very strange incident that happened to me. And then I was visiting India to attend my father's 80th birthday. I was in New Delhi, in Oberoi, and it was late in the night. I was watching CNN. Then it appeared General Ray. General Ray used to be Commander-in-Chief in Ladakh region. He came on the screen. He was being interviewed on CNN, and then during the course of the interview, he said, "War cannot be won by bullets and missiles. war can be won through education. He explained to me how it's all done. I was very convinced. Then I came and told my partner, who was also thinking about starting the school in India, in Bangalore, and asked him to contact General Ray. When General Ray, he contacted him, he explained to him, General Ray decided to, unbelievable, he decided to come down, he took the early retirement. He was a lieutenant general. He was next in line to be chief of army in India, General Ray. And then he came to India, he met all of us, he looked at the plan. We didn't have another school, we had just a plan. And he accepted to join, he became the CEO. He's still today, he's running the school, incredible. He's very articulate, very, very good in managing business and also enticing the other people in the school to do the best job. And he became the CEO. And then we started school in 2001. And then we created 2 more schools along with Bangalore, one in Pune and one in Hyderabad. And then now it's called Indus International School. That has become #1 international school. It's been accredited as #1 international school in the last 6 years. Wow. In the whole of India. And then so we have 1,200 students there. And Pune has about 500 students. And Hyderabad has 600 students. And also it is for profit. It is, but thing is, when we started making profit, we had to take part of it and then create a same physical location, same campus. We wanted to start a school. It's called community school. The same syllabus, everything is the same. Services, everything is the same. But with freedom, the kids come from nearby villages. So we started that in Maky. And it has about 1,000 students now in that school. And they are producing, if you, there are a lot of good students, doesn't matter which level of society you look at. And there are a lot of good students that come out of those nearby villages. And then Hyderabad, Pune, we haven't done that, but we're thinking of doing it probably the next 1 or 2 years. But Bangalore community school in the same campus as the main school is running very well. And then I took Gavin Newsom from here to open up the community school.
You took him to India?
India.
Oh, wow.
That's another thing. I didn't talk about it. I'm also on the board of Bangalore San Francisco Sister City Initiative. And we do a lot of work between the communities to exchange some ideas on the work between Bangalore and Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley of India is Bangalore, and San Francisco is the part of Silicon Valley. Yeah. And then when Gavin Newsom was the mayor, we all went to India. He came. At that time, we took the opportunity to take him to Indus School, and I got the photograph there. And then he opened the community school. He cut the ribbon.
Oh, wow.
So that's doing very well. And I'm happy that I did that. It's produced a lot of good students. Some of them have come to MIT, Stanford here.
That's impressive.
And the way, what we did was we took the syllabus from IB syllabus from Switzerland. We enlarged it. We added other peripheral things like leadership, entrepreneurship, extracurricular. So it became holistic education. Right. That's what we did. But in addition to the curriculum, that's what we did. That's the whole.
What a great story. So you are a trustee of the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. Tell me what it is that you love about Asian art.
I was so much engrossed in technology. I think the life won't be complete without getting involved in art side of the life. That is, and also there's a lot of the Asian Art Museum. Is promoting a very good, doing a very good job in promotion of Asian culture. But Indian representation was lacking. Mainly it had members and trustees from other parts of Asia like Japan, China, Vietnam, Thailand. But Indian side was lacking. although they had a lot of exhibits from India, but they didn't have representation on the board. Then I had an opportunity when I was asked to join the board, and I joined the board of Asian Art Museum as a trustee. And then very first thing what I was fortunate enough to do was to have the exhibition called Maharaja. That happened, I think, about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we got all the exhibits from Royal Albert Museum in London. We brought them over to Asian Art Museum here in San Francisco, and we had a gala before exhibition was open to the public. The gala was very successful, and then I was the first member of the board of trustees. And see, another reason why I want to do it, a lot of Indo-Americans of the next generation, not the first generation, they have to also have a platform, the place to go and get some idea about Indian art and culture. That becomes the center of the platform, by the way, for younger generation to get involved and get better knowledge about Indian art and culture. So that's why I decided to join. And after Maharaja Gala, I got involved there's a gala in yoga. And right now, they made me vice president of the board. And then we have very good philanthropists, very good people with a lot of interest in art. Like our present chairperson is the wife of Jerry Young, who is the founder of Yahoo, and her name is Akiko Yamazaki. She has done a wonderful job. She with her contact, with her great work, she was able to raise $100 million for the museum. Now we are going through a transformation project. I'm part of that. So it's going to be ready in March. We were to commemorate that. We're going to have a gala in May 7th, and we are expanding the museum, with more exhibits, and also adding a new pavilion with emphasis on contemporary art. Because it's all classic before, we didn't have a contemporary art. We are doing that, and then and also not only that, we're using a lot of the technology. Coming from Silicon Valley, all of us got together, came with the idea of how do you make it interactive. Use a lot of technology. When you go in front of the exhibition, tell you where it comes from, the origin, history, and everything else. And also you should get more information by touching the screen and things like that. So we introduced a lot of new technology, and also we all worked hard, including me, to get more Indian representation. Now we have 4 more trustees from Indian origin after me. That is one is Lata Krishnan. Here she's the president of American India Foundation. Mm-hmm. And then there is another one, Vijay Sriram, the wife of Ram Sriram, who is on the board of Google, and she came on the board. And then we have 2. I think one Mr. Dalal, he was one of the VCs, I think. And there is another person. We are about 5 people from Indian origin on the board of trustees. And we also want to create movement to invite a lot of people from younger generation belonging to Indo-American community come and take part. We want to introduce a lot of education program and things like. We are working on that.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's the story behind
That's the story behind it. What's your best advice to entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, that's very good. A lot of good entrepreneurs, they're very good technically, they're very good in thinking about ideas and the products and all that stuff. There are some non-technical things they also have to be aware of to be very good entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. One is, when you have an idea, you have to have, faith in yourself. You have to have faith in yourself, and you had to have, you had to come up with the idea, being not only exciting, but also it leads to something that can be used in the society, that can benefit the society. I can come out with another way of going to moon, but in what way is going to help the society? So the idea should be practical, and also that they should have a business potential and then a potential to help the society. That has to be there. Second thing is you should associate with yourself and bring in more team players to join you who bring in expertise that you don't have. Yeah. The combination of these different expertise have made the company successful. Not only your idea. Yeah. You may have your idea. You may have a very good idea. Technically, it may be good, but implementation, marketing, a lot of other aspects. Business development. So many areas that help you to create a company which is successful, not only financially, business-wise. So you have to associate yourself with the right people with the expertise that you don't have. The third thing is the timing. Again, timing. You got to listen to the market. You got to make sure what is required by the customer, and you cannot tell what the customer wants. Customer should tell you what is what. Yeah. Right. Those are the thing. And also, again, same thing which happened to me. Don't listen to naysayers. Mm. If you have confidence in yourself, in the idea and the practicality of your design and your research, you should go and do it. You should take risks.
Keep going. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. Kumar, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been great getting to know about you, and I hope I get to see you again soon.
Thank you. Later. Thank you, Anu. Hope whatever you said is helpful. To the future entrepreneurs and also society in general. I hope
it was a wonderful conversation.
And I was very happy to share my experience and knowledge, however little or more it is. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to be part of this interview. And I really thank you very much for all your effort. This is a wonderful, thankless job you're doing. And I really appreciate it. And thank you for that.
Thank you. Folks, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.